Hi everyone! Today we're talking about a story that reignited social media and has half the world watching Rome. This week, Yaman was in the Italian capital for a special shoot for an international magazine. Everything seemed normal until, in the interview, he dropped a line that hit like a bomb. He said that in real life he has never fallen madly in love, that he is currently single, and that he has only experienced those intense passions in fiction. On set, he even added that this is fairly common when two people work together on the same set. The result was obvious. The internet made one single association, Demet Özdemir. And of course, people immediately looked back. The series Pájaro Soñador, released in 2018, still feels to many like more than a romantic comedy. The chemistry between Kaan and Demet, the looks, the laughter off camera, all of it left the impression that there was something more. So after Kaan's words, thousands of comments appeared. Who was he talking about? Was that a message to Demet? A confession in disguise or an excuse? The question came roaring back. Did something really happen between them? For a while, Demet said nothing. According to people close to her, whenever she heard the buzz, she just smiled, as if she didn't want to feed the fire. But that calm didn't last long. During a recent outing, as she was leaving a friend's birthday, reporters caught up with her, and she broke her silence with a short but loaded response. She confirmed they worked very well together in the past, and when it came to love, she refused to go into detail. Still, she left a sentence that changed everything. There are feelings only those who lived them can understand. She didn't deny anything outright, and she didn't close the door either. After that, social media exploded again. For many, it sounded like an almost indirect admission. For others, an elegant way to dodge the question without lying. Either way, the old story that seemed buried opened up again. Meanwhile, something curious happened on Kaan's side. After Demet's remarks, he stayed unusually silent. No messages, no clear signs. People say he spent hours glued to his phone, as if processing what he had just heard. And you know how this works. A single gesture from him, one post from Rome, can trigger another storm. So now everything is up in the air. Kaan spoke, Demet answered, without fully answering. And the public feels this story never truly closed. The big question is simple. Will he say something after this? Or will he keep letting the mystery speak for both of them? When I think again about everything the Kaan and Demet narrative carries, I find myself looking at Demet Özdemir with a mix of admiration and a kind of quiet fondness, because I feel that, perhaps more than anyone, she has had to carry a huge part of the collective fantasy that flared up after Erkenci Kuş. And what's striking is that fantasy didn't come out of nowhere. It grew from something we all saw with our own eyes. Their connection felt spontaneous, almost electric, and it didn't look manufactured. People even said the directors let them improvise instead of sticking to the script word for word, which explains why many scenes felt alive and genuine. I completely understand those who say there was affection between them, even if it wasn't the overflowing romance social media sometimes sells. There was complicity, trust, a way of looking at each other you can't rehearse into existence. And to me, that speaks well of Demet. When she finds real harmony with someone at work, she commits fully, without masks, and the audience senses it instantly. But I also think we need to say this plainly. Too often, Demet has been placed in the role of the other half of a romantic story that may have existed only as a creative, human bond in a specific moment. And that feels unfair. Demet isn't an accessory to Can, nor a secondary piece in an endless ship. She's an artist who has built her own path with impressive discipline. I get the sense she understood quite early how to separate what happened on screen from what she wanted in her private life. Not because she's cold, but because she's clear-headed. That's essentially what the idea suggests, that maybe they weren't wildly in love, but they cared about each other. Some relationships are real without needing to become an official couple, and sometimes, precisely because they're real, they're protected quietly. I also keep thinking about another point people raised, how the fandom's mood shifted when Can started dating the DJ. Suddenly, many illusions broke, and some stopped believing in a Can-Demet future. And there, I see something that hits Demet especially hard: the weight of other people's expectations. Before, many wanted her with him, picturing her in a perfect ending. Afterward, the narrative turned into frustration, almost as if she were supposed to wait for him, or as if her own love life should take a back seat because it didn't fit someone else's dream. That really bothers me. I think Demet, under all that pressure, has been quite elegant. She hasn't fanned the flames, and she hasn't turned every rumor into a spectacle. She has kept moving forward without living in explanation mode, and that takes real strength. There's something else I love about her. She can hold a powerful public image without losing warmth. Demet has a rare quality. She can be a total star and still give off the sense that she doesn't take the fame circus too seriously. Maybe that's why people project so much onto her. If she smiles at a co-star, it's love. If she's silent, it's she's hiding something. But I think that's simply who she is: emotionally open, expressive when she feels like it, and private when it's right. It doesn't surprise me she and Can clicked from day one. They're both naturally charismatic, and when that kind of energy comes together, the audience feels like it's watching something intimate, almost secret. And honestly, I'd rather Demet remain the owner of her story than get trapped in endless nostalgia. Because what seems clear to me is that she hasn't lived off that past, even if audiences sometimes do. She's changed registers, tried new things, grown without fear. The beautiful part is that she's done it without erasing what once was. She hasn't come out saying it meant nothing, and she hasn't tried to cut Can out of her artistic memory. She simply moved on, like someone who understands a chapter can be wonderful and still not last forever. So in the end, this is my feeling. Demet is one of those figures the public wants to lock inside a permanent love story because her way of acting and connecting is so intense, almost hypnotic. But that same trait that makes people fall for her on screen is what makes her a huge professional off it. To me, what existed between Can and Demet was authentic in its own way. Real affection, real chemistry, real trust. But Demet doesn't have to live looking backward. If they ever work together again, it'll be magnetic. If not, that's fine too. She doesn't need to repeat a miracle to keep shining. And perhaps the fairest thing we can do as an audience is stop asking her to be the heroine of a fairy tale that already served its purpose, and start seeing her for who she is today: a talented woman with character and a life that doesn't belong to anyone else's fantasy.